House of Gucci is Ridley Scott's second big movie of 2021 and stars Adam Driver, Lady Gaga, and Al Pacino. It tells the story of the Gucci family through their years of prosperity on top of the fashion world. At this point in his career, Ridley Scott only makes two types of movies. You've got your historical epics and then rich family crime dramas. His historical epics include Gladiator, Kingdom of Heaven, Robin Hood, and most recently, The Last Duel. And then for the rich family crime dramas, you've got All the Money in the World and now House of Gucci. And to this day, All the Money in the World remains as one of my favorite movies of 2017. I was hoping House of Gucci could replicate the best parts of All the Money in the World and maybe even add in some chaotic Wolf of Wall Street elements. Unfortunately, though, House of Gucci is a snooze fest. I have never checked my phone so many times while watching a movie in theaters. I could not wait for this thing to end. It's disappointing too because I had high hopes for House of Gucci. There is a recipe for a good movie here. What could possibly go wrong when you have a story about one of the most well-known rich families in human history who got involved in some crime, unfortunately? Plus, you have a really great cast, one of the year's best easily. Lady Gaga, Adam Driver, Al Pacino, Jeremy Irons, Salma Hayek. The list goes on and on. Oh, not to mention Jared Leto, who has some really good prosthetics in this movie. Outside of the cast, the best thing I can say about House of Gucci is how there is one interesting concept that the movie presented. There are family rivalries within the company Gucci. Some family members are very greedy. They wanted more of a stake in the company Gucci and tried their best to take other members of the family out of the company's stake. It's always interesting when family rivalries brew within a very large company, and Gucci just so happens to be one of the most well-known on planet Earth today. That stuff was done well. Ridley Scott honed in on all of that in House of Gucci. But once you get over the fact that nobody in the family likes each other and everyone is very greedy, the movie gets boring quickly. There's just nothing here that got me invested. I was not invested in the movie's story. It didn't touch me from an emotional standpoint. I was never riveted by the story's script or even the performances. Everyone keeps talking about Lady Gaga's performance in House of Gucci, but I've heard other people saying on a smaller scale that Lady Gaga's accent sounds much more Russian than Italian, so then why is everyone praising her performance? Listen, the cast is great, the performances are fine, but there is no reason for me to love this movie if the story is not good. Instead of focusing on the entire family history of the Guccis, Ridley Scott should have pinpointed his approach and figured out what part of the story do I mainly want to focus on. There are some really interesting aspects, but the movie feels like a scrambled mess as it keeps jumping from year to year of this family's history. Because of that, the movie feels directionless, as if there's no actual story. And when you have a story about a very rich family, you would think at the beginning of the movie, you would see how the family went from being middle class or poor to being very wealthy. But we never see that, and every one of our characters is practically rich from the beginning of the movie. So we never get that underdog story in House of Gucci from rags to riches. There's nobody to root for in this movie. I swear to you when I say I never wanted to leave a movie theater more in 2021 than when I saw House of Gucci. I must have checked my phone maybe 5 or 6 times. The movie started at 7:10, but then we had the previews. So then I figured, okay, it starts at 7:30. So then by 10 o'clock, the movie will end. And when 9 o'clock hit, I just kept checking over and over again. I'll repeat this. There are some interesting aspects in House of Gucci, especially towards the movie's end. There is one plot point that I thought had tons of potential, but even that was faltered. There could have been so much more made out of House of Gucci. Again, I really enjoyed All the Money in the World story. I became emotionally invested in Michelle Williams' character and her fight to get her son back. Whereas in House of Gucci, I did not care about anything, and I just wanted to leave the theater because I was bored out of my mind. I wish they focused mostly on the movie's court case that comes near the end. Maybe the first half of the movie could have been about the relationship of Lady Gaga and Adam Driver's characters, and then the second half of the movie could have focused more on the court case. That's the part of the story I found most interesting, but House of Gucci mostly brushed over that. So I'm giving House of Gucci a 50%. Alright, for those of you who also happen to see House of Gucci, be sure to let me down below in the comment section what your thoughts are of it. Were you as disappointed in this movie as I was, or do you think Ridley Scott did a good job with this movie? And as always, if you are new to my channel, click the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Thank you all so much for watching this video, and I hope you all have a fantastic day.